Next question up is about using caffeine in a competition setting. Um, just kind of what are my thoughts on that? Um, I think it's really personality dependent and depending on what kind of lifter you are. Um, if you're a kind of lifter who doesn't get too flustered, doesn't get too excited about the competition, if you tolerate caffeine well, use caffeine in training, then probably do it pretty much the same in competition. If you're the kind of lifter who gets pretty darn nervous, um, you're maybe a more cerebral lifter, meaning that you're not getting super psyched up and angry before a lift. You're thinking more about technical cues. If you're not using caffeine in competition, in training rather, and things of that nature, then you probably want to shy away from it in competition. So there's kind of this split. You know, one type of person, the closer you are to like this type of person, the better caffeine is going to treat you in competition. You know, so if you've used it, you're maybe a more emotional lifter. You kind of thrive on that high energy feeling. You know, then maybe caffeine's for you. Now, if you're the other kind of person who doesn't, like for me personally, I don't have any problem getting psyched up in the competition. If anything, especially for that first squat, I'm kind of trying to bring it down a little bit, and I'm thinking about technical cues and stuff like that. So for somebody like me, having a lot of caffeine in my system, or any sometimes, just contributes to me feeling jittery, and that's not the feeling that I want when I step out on the platform. So I think of it kind of in that paradigm. Now, you know, the closer you are to one or the other, that gives you more of a clear answer. Chances are you're probably somewhere in the middle, and so it's going to be a judgment call. I would start slow with it. You know, if let's say you have like a 60 or 100 milligram dose of caffeine pre-training typically, you know, so what's that, coffee or maybe a big soft drink, or a small pre-workout, maybe a small energy drink, something along those lines. So 60 to 100 milligrams is a fairly normal to conservative dose of caffeine. If that's what you're used to, then I would start there in competition and see how you react to it. If you're used to something more aggressive than that, still maybe start a little on the low end of your range, you know, because you can always ramp it up. You know, if you try a little bit at this competition and you tolerate it really well, then next time you could try, a full dose of, typically most of the pre-workouts that I see are around 200 milligrams of caffeine or something like that, if they tell you at all, and they ought to tell you. So if your pre-workout doesn't, then that's a problem in my eyes. Anyway, that's pretty off topic. If you're used to something more in the 200 milligram range, still start on the low end, because if you try it and you go, man, that was much better, then you can kind of ramp into it, and it doesn't turn into one meet that's kind of a disaster or anything like that. So there you go. There you have it. Some views on caffeine use in competition.